Well, we've got a repair video this time of a soldering station. This belongs to my friend Bob, and I quit working on him. And well, there's generally a pretty good brand. This is the WES51. And when I searched for problems with this just stopping working, there was a whole lot of hits online, which really surprised me. So I'm going to get this unboxed and we'll take a look at it and see if we can't get Bob's soldering station fixed up. Okay, I've got the station plugged in, got the iron hooked up. Bob even sent the manual, and it says if the LED comes on steady, that means it's warming up. If it's off or flashing steadily, it has reached the set point. And it may be green or red depending on if it's locked or unlocked, which I don't have any idea what that means. So we'll turn it on. It's green. I hear the transformer buzzing. It says green is normal operation, or red if the temperature is locked. Just doesn't define what locked is. So since it's green and solid on, it should be heating up. You can just barely see it's still green. Yep. Notice I am not crying out in pain from the searing heat of this iron. So nothing is happening. It's not warming up. So do we have a broken lead here in the iron? I doubt it. I don't think Bob has actually used this much. Let's see if we can figure out how to test the iron, and then we'll take this guy apart. It shows us in the manual that if we measure across pins 2 and 6, we should have between 9 and 11 ohms. We've got about 10 ohms. So the heater element and the handle is okay. So we've got a problem with the base here. Okay, I've got the base unplugged. And looking at the bottom, there are no screws evident. So maybe they're under the rubber feet. Look. Trying to pry up some of these plugs and see what's under here. At least they're not glued in. Hey, there are screws there. Okay. Okay. Okay, that comes apart not too bad. The case is kind of like a pale blue. It's like a Smurf that got really scared and started to turn white. A little yellowed on the outside from sun exposure. Some ground Smurf on the table here. So we've got a big transformer here, and a circuit board and a switch. And wow, there's not much to that board, is there? Double checked, I am unplugged. Oh, maybe you take the screw out of the pot. That's what you do. That was tricky. Okay. Looks like it's the same type of screw that holds the board down. Oh, now the knob falls right off. So what do we have here? Old man glasses. There is single chip, another chip, another chip, some passives, power from the transformer coming in, a couple electrolytics, MILF diode for all you MILF diode fanboys. That's a Dave Jones joke. He does it better. What is that thing? It's a reed switch? It looks like a reed switch. This little guy right here. That definitely looks like a reed switch. Of course, there's no schematic for this guy. So diode, 3 chips, 2 capacitors, 2 electrolytics, some chip capacitors, resistors. Yeah, and it looks like the iron is connected to this circuitry down here. All right, well, I'll take a look at this and come back if we figure anything out. Okay, I checked the 2 diodes. This one's fine. This one seems to have a partial short across it, but then when I measure this capacitor, there's only 1K across it. It comes up in the picofarad range on the capacitance tester. This transistor seems okay. And this transistor, which is kind of connected into where this capacitor and diode are, also measures funny. But since I'm getting 1K of resistance across this capacitor and a real low capacitance, I think this is a good place to start and try to pull that guy out of there. Then we'll see how everything else measures. This other capacitor, which is 33 microfarad, measures closer to 90 microfarad, which could mean it's electrically leaking, and it could mean there's just other stuff in the circuit in parallel with it, like this little capacitor here that's throwing off that reading. So I'll try to get that capacitor out of there. I'm going to try to use my tweezer iron after adding some solder to this. Sometimes it works great on these guys, and sometimes it does not. But I thought we would give it a shot. For like chip capacitors and resistors, this is a great tool. Okay, that got it off there. Now, measure the resistance across those 2 pads, and I'll just tell you what the meter says. It says 1.17K. Okay, this goes to here. This goes up to this transistor. I think this is what's turning on the current to the heater element. Let's see if we get a different measurement on that diode. Okay. This is reverse polarized. Same thing. Forward polarized. Yeah. 40 millivolts. Something's not acting diode there. Yeah, for those types of parts, the tweezers work really, really good. All right. Measure the diode by itself. Come on. Tricky little bugger. Okay. Diode. Okay. So our MILF diode is okay. Let's check the capacitor we popped out of there. Again, these little buggers are hard to hold. Yeah. 140 ohms ESR. I didn't have a real good contact on there. Almost 2 microfarads. I can try it again. I think I'll go ahead and try to replace this anyhow. Okay, I'll just mess with that later. That's frustrating. Okay. Now I think I'm going to pull this transistor out of here with a desoldering iron, and then we'll test it and see what's up with that. So this turns out to be a triac. If we put it on the component tester, it comes up as a resistor, which it definitely should not do. Depending on how the lead's connected, it's between 80 and 100 ohms. So we should not have that low of resistance across any of the pins. So I'm going to order one of these, go ahead and put the MILF diode back on there, see if I have a suitable capacitor to replace the one there, and then we'll see how it goes. Well, got some new parts in. It took about 10 days to get back to this. I checked one of the new triacs with my cheap little tester, and it tested the same as the one that was in there, so I don't think it's bad. It's just the voltage limitation on my tester won't trigger the high voltage triac, which I should have thought about before. But we're going to go ahead and change out these capacitors because at least this one was bad. And to get to this one right here, I'm going to need to remove this little thermostat thing here. So I'm just going to go ahead and fast forward through this, removing the caps, putting new caps on, and we'll see how it works. I got this reassembled enough so we can test it. We just replaced the caps. We left the original triac in there. I've got the iron hooked up right here, just off to that side of the screen. Go ahead and turn this on. We've got a solid red LED, which should mean that it is heating up. It's smelling hot. You can just see the red LED there. Look at that, it's blinking, which should mean that it's at the set temperature, and we can try some solder here. And look at that. Full of bad electrolytic capacitors made the iron not work. Now, why is that? That circuit around there is the feedback circuit, which measures whatever temperature sensor is in the iron, and then in turn controls the triac. So those caps could have caused that to not work properly, and the result was the triac never got turned on. Right now it's working great though. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and tin that tip. That's just before putting it away, clean it, put a little fresh solder on there, and that'll protect it till it's used next time. So now I'm going to let this cool down and put the rest of the way back together. There we go. We got Bob's Weller WES51 soldering iron fixed up again. It just took a couple little electrolytic caps. I've got the bad ones taped to the little piece of tape there. Now the triac was fine. My little multi-tester thing wasn't capable of testing a high voltage triac. So we got inconclusive results, let's say, with that. The new one tested the same and it was only another $1 or so in parts to order a couple of new ones. Just in case, don't have to pay separate shipping on it, so it made sense to do that at the time. And I've got a couple extra parts in stock now. When this cools down, I'll get it boxed up and back on its way to Bob. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section down there below. Thanks to everyone who helps support the channel. I really appreciate it. Click on the like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. That really helps the channel grow. I would appreciate it. And until next time, bye.